Welcome to Activ8, ladies and gentlemen. Activ8 is the show that takes a group of young teenagers out of their city life and puts them to the test in the great outdoors. During this series, we invited a group of 8 boys, only 7 turned up though, to Thriftwood Scout Camp for a series of secret challenges. From archery to basketball, each individual will be tested physically or emotionally. However, the most interesting and important element to this adventure is teamwork. Our activators will be split into 2 teams, the purple team and the black team, competing with each other each day for bragging rights. Throughout their adventure, we will get up close and personal with the activators in the diary room. So join us on this roller coaster first series of Activ8. And it's day 1 for these activators. They're up and ready for today's activities. And let's see what their impressions are.
Oh look, it's an Activ8 letter. Ibrahim, tell us what it says.
Activ8, today's activity. So today is all about bushcraft and the art of survival in the outdoors. So get your boots on and some warm clothes and get ready to learn to survive in the great outdoors. Does anyone even know what that is? Bushcraft.
I think it's about like making shelters, surviving in the woods and wilderness.
Wilderness. It's like hunting in a way. Getting food.
It got something to do with finding traps, finding
Making
food, traps, shelter.
Survival.
Yeah, basically everything to do with survival.
Yeah, the weather's good, so it should be alright. Because in the morning it was raining.
Has anyone done bushcraft before?
Bushcraft covers a range of skills like building fires, outdoor shelters and purifying water. Removing you from your urban comforts, it challenges you to explore nature and the raw environments around you. And it is in the forest of Thriftwood Scout Camp that we meet Ahmed Syed, who, after starting the John Muir Award for Conservation at the age of 12, developed a love for the outdoors and in particular, the art of bushcraft.
It's really a fulfilling experience where every time I'm out, I learn something new or develop something I've already learned, which I find everyone should know, everyone should have. And I mean, we've got all this technology out there, which is great, but sometimes we just need a break from it.
This is the first test of the week, but before our young activators get stuck into today's challenge, they must learn the basic of how to survive in the wilderness. Well, actually, not quite, as we're just outside Essex.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Ahmed, and I'll be teaching you guys bushcraft today. Now, before we get started on that, the most important thing you need to take into account is that bushcraft can be dangerous. If you're going to start lighting fires, if you're going to be pulling down branches from trees, you can hurt yourself. So you need to be very safe about it. You have to make sure whatever you do, you don't endanger yourselves or the people around you. All right? And even more important than that, you don't endanger the forest around you as well. Why do you think that's important, not to endanger the forest around you?
If you make a fire, you might cause a forest fire and everything could burn, kill a lot of people. Then
Spot on. You could cause a forest fire. Anyone else? That's just about fires. What else? What will you do before you start a fire? Who's ever made a fire before? All right. When you say you made a fire, how did you make the fire?
Flint and steel.
Flint and steel. What about yourself?
Matches.
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 Matches as well. And matches, yeah? There's a lot of different ways to make fires, and we're going to try exploring all of that first. What do you think I should do first?
First you grab some wooden stones, put stones around where you're going to put the wood so like the fire don't spread.
Okay. So, do you want to you guys want to scatter out and get me some stones? Go on, Philly.
There's no stones though.
Sometimes starting a safe fire is not as easy as it seems. Our activators are going to find this challenging as they're used to their mum's gas cooker.
All right, let's all come back in now. spent more than enough time collecting stones. Come on. So why do you think stones are important? You said to
keep the fire like contained.
keep it contained. So you want it to stop spreading outwards. That's good. There's also one more reason why. It also reflects the heat back in. You understand? So it keeps your fire hot as well. Second thing, did anyone notice what's different now about our site for making our fire? Before there were a lot of leaves here. What's different now?
Cleared it up.
I cleared it up. Why did I clear it up?
Because
Leaves catch fire.
Leaves catch fire. So before you start a fire, first thing you do is, even before you put the stones down, is you clear the leaves out. Then you don't have to put stones down, but it's always a good thing to put down. Now, let's all kneel down a bit, yeah? Imagine you woke up this morning and you went to your notice board to see what your activity you're doing. Imagine that never happened this morning. Imagine you woke up right here. What would your first thoughts be?
get food or shelter.
I'm sure there'll be a lot more thoughts before that.
What am I doing here?
What am I doing here? Yeah? What am I doing here? Then, what are you going to start thinking of next?
I'm cold.
You're cold. Finding the way back. We'll come to that later. You're cold.
Shelter.
Shelter.
Hungry.
Hungry. And one more.
Hydration.
Drink. Those are the 4 parts of survival. When you're in a survival situation, they're your first 4 priorities. Food, water, shelter, and fire. Alright, so these are the 4 things that you keep as priority. So first of all, we're going to start with the fire. Now, with fire, there's like a triangle of how you make a fire, or what you need to make a fire. You need fuel, you need air, and you need heat. There we go. That's fine. Wahib, could you do me a favour? If you go back behind that tree, you'll see a round kind of fire log, I call it. You'll understand what it is. Just move up slightly a bit. No, not that one. That one. It's made out of wax. Well done. This here is one of my own man-made fire logs. How I made it is, I got a can of Coke. Imagine this is a can of Coke, yeah? I cut most of it off until I've just got just a bit at the bottom here. Then I got cardboard, cut into strips, and coiled it around, as I've done here. And then after that, I just poured in hot wax. And once the hot wax has cooled down, you've got a very versatile fire log here as well. So you have different types of ways of starting fire, either be it natural, be it man-made. And for bushcraft, you have to remember, you have to be prepared. When you go out in a bushcraft scenario, sometimes you won't have anything, but are you just going to go out on an expedition without anything? You're not. You're going to prepare, aren't you? You're going to pack things, and this is one of a good idea of something to take where you'll start your fire up pretty quickly. So it's not a bit more glycerin.
First lesson taught.
Speed it up.
Let's see whether the activators can remember all of it later on in the show, when they're challenged to apply their bushcraft techniques.
So can you see? Once it bursts into flames, make sure you're ready, yeah? Wait for it, go for it. Not that one, that's a very big piece. Keep them small pieces. And come on, together, let's work as a team. Put on top of the flame, yeah? And that's the basics of how you start a fire.
The weather is changing, the night is falling, the fire is fully lit. Let's take it to the next step in bushcraft training.
What's that crackling stuff?
That's just water in the wood. Well, it started raining now, so now what do you want to do next? Just sit out here and get wet, or
Go inside.
Make a shelter out here.
make a shelter? Yeah? How about this? Let's make a shelter.
Go inside.
Now,
That's a shelter.
what does your shelter need to have, first of all?
A bed.
Wood.
A roof. A roof, yeah, because it's raining.
Protect you
isn't it?
from the nature.
Protect you from the enemy. You need it. Good. So, span out. Start finding materials to make a shelter. Wood. Just find sticks, anything you can use. You've got a wood pile over there as well. There might be materials in there you could use. Come on, find something that you can use as half a shelter already. Like this tree, how are you going to work with this tree?
How are we going to get heat from that?
Oh, what about this tree right here?
Then this one.
Can you slowly lean the shelter on it?
We'll put our head through it.
Come on.
How are we going to do a show on this? Let's get wood.
Stick, lean the shelter against that.
Get wood.
Pull out this.
And then another one.
You can't do it on that side, because that's too close to the fire.
Push it into the ground.
Time is of the essence for our young activators, even though it's just their training. As unfortunate it may be, they are stuck out there for what's coming next.
If you're not doing anything, go look for wood. Is that a safe thing to do now?
Yes, it's getting out.
Come on, take it too long.
Wallah, it's pouring. It's hailstone. It's hailstone. Oh, no. It's slowly. I thought this was the, like, get the fire there. That's what we got right now.
Hailstone.
Hailstone. Oh my days. Oh,
Stuck in the rain, possibly even a little bruised after all that hail, our young activators have completed their training. Well done. Whether they found it easy or hard, Ahmed has taught them essential bushcraft techniques. Now, to compete in a challenge. We've seen a lot from our young activators. Now, teamwork and patience is absolutely essential to take their bushcraft experience to the next level.
So, granted, this isn't the best way to build a shelter, but in a bushcraft situation, you'll use only the things that you have around you. And the only things the children had around them were wood and the leaves. Of course, you'd come in more prepared. Usually you'd bring a tarpaulin or something like that to shelter yourselves properly. But, I mean, for half an hour's work, they've done amazing. And I hope they do well in their challenge.
And welcome back to Activ8, the show that takes a group of young teenagers out of their city life and puts them to the test in the great outdoors. Okay, so we're on day one, and our teams have been given a crash course in bushcraft by Ahmed Saeed, our very own Grizzly Adams. Located in the middle of Thriftwood Scout Camp, Ahmed has taught our activators how to choose the right area, clear it, and build a fire. But in the great outdoors of Essex, you can never rely on the weather. So the next job was to build a shelter and complete their training. Coming up in the show, we rejoin our activators in a race against time as they rack their brains and work as a team to compete in their first challenge.
All right, now it's time for the challenge. You've got half an hour before Maghrib, and you need to make sure the challenge is complete. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to do it. So what we need you to do is take what you learned from training, be it as brief as it was, and apply it here. And we're going to throw you in the deep end now. So you've got 30 minutes to build a fire and a shelter with whatever you can find around here. Any questions? All right, let's get on with it. Let's get cracking.
Mohib got stuck in and straight into the challenge. He's going for the thick wooden pillars for his team's shelter.
Can you make your shelter here?
No.
No, do you think? Can you?
The trees.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
the
can
trees in
actually.
between the trees.
Okay, so why don't you, before you cut any further, prepare this site for your fire? How do you prepare a site for fire?
Remove all
the
the
leaves.
leaves.
Should we do it over there or should we do it here? Because that's more dry.
Huh?
Where should we do it?
Whatever you guys choose, I'm not good at it.
That's better over there.
Yeah, good idea.
Better over there.
That's the torch. There you go.
I'm cutting down parts of the wood so that when I make my fire, the sawdust that lands here will help it for tindering.
They're getting their team spirit together slowly, so hopefully have pulled through. Well, I think with, the black team, it looks like they've already got the fire going. I think I see something glowing there. Whereas the purple team, they've got their shelter up pretty quick as well. So strong points in both teams. Really happy with that.
The spirit is high in the black team. Their fire is lit and they're all nice and comfy. But one of their members is falling behind. I don't think the night is going to be to their advantage.
Basically, we just got first we started clearing up the area, and then we got the bricks and stones to surround it so that our fire doesn't get out of hand. Then we got our tinder and our starting fuel, and then we set it on fire, and now we're gonna make it a bit bigger, and then we're gonna start on our shelter.
We're trying to build a shelter. We have the 3 trees over
That's
here,
your tinder?
which we can use as a
what's
starting
it?
block. So instead of getting 3 separate sticks and sticking them up, we decided to use these trees to help us. Right now we're leaning this against 2 trees. Where did you get this?
Watch the fire, don't damage the fire.
But we need to be careful because
Did you get the fire logs?
probably gonna get the fire.
They're in that bag. Well, originally I thought this team wasn't going to do that well, but they've done amazing. Got a good fire going, good shelter. The other team, they started off with their fire, but I think it's gone out.
And now I'm collecting the leaves from there to make the shelter waterproof. Yeah, someday.
They've done really well to be thrown into wet conditions and get a fire going. Done amazingly. I'm really proud of them.
Our young Activ8's times are almost up. Let's see what the results are going to show.
I say we live in a society where we're very individualistic. We always do what we want for ourselves, but when you do something like bushcraft, you learn that it's not about yourself anymore. You've got a team of people who you've got to work with, and like it is, get a fire going, put up a shelter. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah, what happened? The fire went out a few minutes ago, and then we managed to get it started again.
Right, so this is the end of the challenge and the results of the black team. They've done really well, because you've got to take into account that we were in the rain earlier on today, and there's no dry wood anywhere to be found, and still they've got a fire started. Shelter, I think they spent most of their time trying to get the fire going, that they didn't spend enough time on the shelter. But I can see that they've started something, and it looks like it would have been a good design had they actually worked on it. But all in all, a good attempt. I mean, if it was dry conditions, I think we'd have seen a lot more from them. These are the remnants of the campfire of the purple team, and it's been burning for about 5 minutes without them being here, so it's pretty good. I mean, I'm getting really toasty here. Again, the same verdict as I gave with the black team, that they've actually got a much better fire going, and with wet wood as well, they've done pretty well. The shelter, however, it's on another level. I mean, look at that. They've really spent the time as a team putting it together. They found the right wood. They picked a really good campsite to start at, rather than just anywhere that looked feasible. I mean, we could fit 3 people in here comfortably. So it's a good result. At first, the teamwork was a bit iffy. You had people wandering all over the place, but they managed to somehow get together, and they've done really well. They've done excellently, actually. I was surprised how quickly they picked it up. Because you've got to take into account, this isn't just any old conditions. For a new person into bushcraft to try making a fire with only, half an hour to sunset and wet conditions, it is challenging. I mean, I find that challenging myself. And yet, they've done a great job. So I'm really, I'm surprised and pleased. I'm really satisfied. So we've had our first full day of activities. We did bushcraft today. So how did you feel it went?
I think that when you're outside in the cold and it's dark and you're working together as a team, then you learn about people around you better than you would in normal circumstances.
I think that learning how to make shelter and fire could come in handy in the future, and it's a really good experience. It's useful.
Working with the team really helps, like bringing people together, because you work on stuff faster. Like half of your team can work on like the fire, and half can work on the shelter. Then you can finish up the shelter and the fire, and then after that you can just go inside your shelter and go to sleep or something.
So how do you feel the teamwork went within the teams? I'll start with the purple team.
I think at the beginning we were arguing whether we should start the fire and then the shelter, and then as we gradually we delegated our jobs, and then we knew what to do, and yeah, we worked better as time went along.
Yeah, I noticed your teamwork at the beginning was a bit scrappy, but pulled it through really well. What about your team? How's the teamwork within your team?
In my team, because there was 4 of us, we split the job, so we put 2 people in the fire and 2 people in the shelter. But the shelter was a difficult one, so we had to put a couple more people onto it. And then because the fire was going out, we had to put more people onto the fire, and it was getting a bit switchy. So in the end, we just had to try and split up the jobs and all work an even amount of jobs each.
Because I noticed at the beginning, the 4 of you were talking together. You were making a plan. What was your plan to start with?
We was gonna split up, and we were gonna do 2 of us do shelter and 2 of us do fire, but it didn't turn out like that.
Why do you think it didn't turn out like that?
Not everybody in the team was very cooperative. So sometimes one person they'd go off and then come back later on. So then sometimes he gets in the way, and then he gets mixed up all the time.
Day 1 has come to an end. Both teams have learned vital lessons they can use in the upcoming episodes. Activators out.
You do understand that it was wet outside. It's very hard lighting a fire in these conditions. The fact that both teams got a fire going, that is admirable.
It changed my view of the team. I didn't work well with the team before, and we got to know each other better. Dun, 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 dun.